Welcome back to The Express in Vancouver. How's this for writing on the dotted line of success? A new book, a teaching gig, U.S. distribution, and more. Yes, more. Up next, meet a writer from Toronto who's discovered there's more to life in Whistler than biking and boarding.
In the city, it feels like I have to work extra hard just to get to a quiet enough place where I can see what's coming up on the page. Here, it feels like so much of that is a given. It's so quiet.
Giller Prize nominee Sarah Selecki shares a cup of tea with her husband Ryan on the porch of Alta Lake House in Whistler. The mountains, the lake, the peace wraps around this Toronto author, hopefully fueling the ink behind her next book.
I think the nature of the work that I'm doing is one that is about having a receptive mind, and so much of this landscape already gives that to you. It's amazing.
Sarah is living on Alta Lake for the next 2 months as part of the Whistler Readers and Writers Festival's Writer-in-Residence Mentorship Program.
Hi!
The first month is dedicated to one-on-one manuscript sessions with aspiring local writers such as myself.
Book again, and she's sort of observing everyone else. I have 12 students where we work together once a week in a group, and I give a lecture and some assignments. And then throughout the week, which is what makes this program really a special one and unlike others that I know about in Canada, once a week I work with each one of the students one-on-one, so we can work really closely on their manuscripts. I think mentorship's really important, and I know that I wouldn't have been able to write my book without the help of my mentor, Juji Gartner.
Ryan works on Sarah's latest adventure, StoryIsAStateOfMind.com. After teaching private writing classes for more than a decade in Toronto and graduating from the online creative writing master's program at the University of British Columbia, Sarah is determined to bring her storytelling classes even farther afield than Canada.
I thought, why not just try to transfer some of my methods and some of what I'm teaching to an online program that's downloadable and affordable for students to use. There are video lectures and video tutorials where I can guide students through the whole process that I like to guide students through one-on-one.
The Writer and Residence program comes on the tail end of Sarah's cross-Canada tour, promoting her Giller Prize-nominated book, This Cake is for the Party, a collection of short stories heralded by the National Post as dark, unpredictable tales.
The book had a really successful year last year. I'm really proud of it. And I just found out last week that it will be coming out in the States in fall 2012. So next year around this time, I'll be going through the whole launch process again in another country, which is really exciting.
Not to mention exhausting. Sarah intends to take full advantage of the final month of the Writer-in-Residence program. She and her writing will have 4 weeks of lakeside alone time.
Just the nothingness and the spaciousness that awaits me is like, it's such a treat, and really focusing on getting another writing routine set up for myself that's new and exploratory. Having 4 weeks of quiet time here in Whistler is such a gift.
The gift of Whistler, a natural state, both in landscape and the written word. From Whistler, I'm Nicole Fitzgerald for The Express.
Sarah will also be leading workshops at the Whistler Readers and Writers Festival happening October 14th through the 16th in Whistler. You're watching The Express, and up next, it's a little Secrets of the City as we take a road trip to Prince George.
Travel along with us on the Quality Assured Collision Road Trip as we explore the many marvelous attractions and activities of beautiful British Columbia.
On today's Quality Assured Road Trip, we are stepping back in time to 1896 at the Fort St. James National Historic Site, situated on the southern shores of Stewart Lake.
This site was a capital and thought of as a real central hub of the wheel for trade as things were going on.
In 1896, you would have found that fur traders would have been at the height of commerce. The fur post was bustling with life. There would probably be as many as 10, 15 workers living on site at any given time, and a number of folks, of course, coming back and forth from various other trading posts, bringing their furs and wares back to this location to trade before shipping them out elsewhere.
The men's house, built in 1884, was one of the first to be built. Fort employees and trappers could stay here free of charge.
And because the house could hold up to anywhere from like 20 to 40 men at a time. And they usually pack their own rolled out bed, so that's what they would sleep on upstairs. And the chair is an early version of a lazy boy chair. Kind of adopted it and thought it'd be neat for the tourists to sit in and try.
The trade store was also built that same year. It was considered the heart of the fur trade business. Everything you needed to survive, as well as luxury items, could be traded for here. As the fur trade business flourished, a general warehouse and fur storage building was needed. This impressive structure holds Parks Canada's highest heritage designation and was key to the success of the fort.
This is maybe one of the finest examples left in North America of a post and beam structure. The warehouse was used in history. It was a central warehouse for the entire region. Because of the transportation routes that led right to literally to the doorstep of this building, that's what made this a central player in the history of this whole region. They were bringing in 50,000 pounds of flour, 20,000 pounds of sugar into this region. This variety, and people of this area starting to get a variety of things from other parts of the world. The world's just all of a sudden for everyone getting smaller and smaller, and things crossing the oceans and becoming parts of the lives of people who never, saw those items previously. It's a lot of fried bannock. Actually, you come into a building where you see it complete, and all of the things in it that you could have seen in 1896. So you step back in a way into history that very few places with such accuracy can tell the story.
Special events are planned throughout the year. Take a trip to the Fort St. James National Historic Site. For Quality Assured Road Trip, I'm Rick Smith.
Entertaining and informative, the Quality Assured Collision Road Trip. Weekends on Shaw TV. Always something new and exciting.
Next week on Road Trip, we'll be visiting Chilliwack. I wonder if they're going to take us to one of my favorite October spots, Reaper's Haunted House. Well, we'll have to wait and see. As for today's show, this is what's coming up. After the break,
what's some of the things that you miss about Jamaica?
Escapes.ca destinations.
Just a lifestyle.
Good for you, good for the earth.
To ensure the chocolate you consume provides you with health benefits, keep it to 130 gram square a day.
The Express. We are your local voice.
Community programming on Shaw has been generously sponsored in part by
Hairstyling and color services for Shaw TV, provided by The Lounge Hair Studio. LoungeHairStudio.com.
Welcome back to the Express in Vancouver. Now, our country is certainly known for having its own global village, but we're not the only place. Although 90% of Jamaicans are of partial or total African descent, there's also a strong presence of other ethnic groups. And as we'll see on today's Escapes.ca destinations, that gives a whole new meaning to what a Jamaican looks like.
Escapes.ca Destinations is sponsored in part by Sunquest Vacations.
Want to go on an adventure? Let me take you there. I'll give you an insider's look on where to eat, play, and stay from the expats and the experts. All this without ever leaving our own backyard. Your best tour guide is within reach. I'm Mona Mansour, and this is Escapes.ca Destinations.
We're learning more about the largest island in the Caribbean with one local Jamaican culinary master. He's going to be sharing with us his dedication to his heritage and his culture. Hi, Frank.
Hello, Mana.
It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you. Welcome to Calypso.
Now, what part of Jamaica are you originally from?
I'm from Kingston.
Kingston,
Yes.
right in the heart,
Yes,
the capital city.
Yes, yes.
Frank, when somebody comes into Calypso Foods, they're expecting a black man with big dreads, but clearly you're not that. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
On my mother's side, my grandfather, he was from China. And on my father's side, his father is from born in Hawaii.
Clearly, there's a lot of multiculturalism in Jamaica. What would you like to say about that multiculturalism?
It's a melting pot. And as the motto stands, out of many one people.
Frank immigrated from Jamaica in the 1970s and opened Calypso Foods in Surrey in 1991. Although mostly known for their wide array of Jamaican patties, Calypso also offers catering and Caribbean cuisine.
Clearly, you haven't lost all the Jamaican flavors that go into all these awesome foods.
Yes.
What do we got here?
We have our jerk chicken.
And you guys make your own sauce here.
Yes.
And then what is this item right here?
This is a curry goat.
Curried goat.
Curry mutton. Yeah, we eat a lot of goat.
Yes.
And we also make a goat soup.
Wow.
We call manish water.
Manish water?
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta explain that. What does that mean?
It's basically the parts of the goat that you don't normally curry, like the head.
Head. And what is this lovely thing?
This
right
is what
here?
we call festival.
Festival.
Yes, it's like a Jamaican donut. I'm going to show you, man, how we make the festival.
Frank, I've got my Calypso Foods apron on,
Yes.
ready to make some festivals. What's the first step?
Okay, well, this is the festival dough. Usually I just pinch a little like that.
Pinch a little bit like that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, it's very sticky.
Yeah, ready? And you roll it like that, like this. And what we do, we place it here and press it down, sort of flat.
Mine doesn't look as nice as yours. What city would be a good place for dining and nightlife?
Alligator Pond.
Alligator
which is
Pond.
on the south coast.
On the south coast,
And there's a little restaurant called Little Ochi.
Little Ochi.
It's right on the sea. Okay, Mana, let's go fry these up, eh?
Okay.
And just gently put them in the fryer.
What are some of the things that you really miss about home?
I think it's just a lifestyle. You know, it's very laid back. You don't feel as much pressure down there.
Those are looking really good. That's delicious. It's always nice to be able to go to a place like Jamaica and experience all of it, not just the food, but the beach and the people and people like yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank.
Now for your travel tip of the week.
Double check your resort location. Many of the tour operator flights fly right into Montego Bay. However, this may not be the location of your resorts. There are many great spots in Jamaica such as Ocho Rios, Runaway Bay, and Negril, to name a few.
Escapes.ca Destinations was sponsored in part by Sunquest Vacations.
Frank's Jamaican culinary delights can be bought at Caribbean stores across Vancouver and Surrey, and also at his Surrey store. Now, up next on The Express, good for you, good for the earth, has something else to make your mouth water. Ever roll your eyes when someone says chocolate is good for you? Well, it is. And our resident dietitian has found a place that's making it look and taste even better than before.
FarmFolkCityFolk.ca, good for you, good for our earth, is brought to you by Farm Folk City Folk.
Hi, I'm Lori, and I'm here to share with you my passion for nutritious food and sustainable living. We'll see if these foods meet my dietitian's stamp of approval, and why these foods are not only good for you, but also good for our earth. Chocolate. We use it to celebrate, to seduce, to ease our worries, and delight our taste buds. For those of us that are trying to eat more healthy, ethically, and sustainably, when it comes to chocolate, it can be a challenge. So we spoke to Chocolate Arts owner Greg Hook, who has a passion for chocolate, as well as organic and local foods.
We're a small company, so we look to support as much local as we can. I know where we got our peaches from. I know where we get our pumpkins from. I know where we get our basil from, our blueberries. And we've generally bought the same products from the same people for, going on 12 to 15 years. If I buy it from local, it's more, I pay more, But if I buy a cheaper thing, there's a hidden cost because it had to come here. There's an environmental cost. There's all sorts of different things that I just don't buy into. I have some young children, and I just want to make sure that they can have blueberries sometime in the future. And that's the only thing I can control on it, is by promoting that.
There are 50 million people around the world that depend on cocoa for their livelihood. Yet we do know that cocoa beans can be grown in areas that result in deforestation and child labor. We asked Greg how his chocolate business deals with those sorts of issues.
The chocolate that we get from a supplier whom we've done our research on, who practices sustainable practices in a lot of the cocoa growing areas. They're building schools, and every year we review where we're getting our chocolate from.
Why would your supplier not be fair trade certified?
Well, what they determined when they looked at the fair trade process, they had already been practicing a lot of the fair trade practices, but not been certified.
To ensure the chocolate you consume provides you with health benefits, keep it to 130 grams square a day, and choose at least 70% dark chocolate, as the more cocoa in your chocolate means less room for added fat and sugar. They have nearly twice the phytonutrient content of red wine and 3 times that of green tea.
Like, as far as we know, we're the only company in the world that makes a rhubarb chocolate, because I've never seen anyone else do it. And part of that is just an homage to my prairie grandmother. We use this actually for a chocolate. So this was picked yesterday morning. They delivered it to us last night, and we process this where there's no heat involved. So that then what we try and do is capture it, because when you taste it, you want to be able to go, that's basil.
Chocolate, as with any food, the less processing and high heat temperatures it's exposed to, the more nutritional value it contains. Flavonoids, or phytonutrients, are the plant pigments that give chocolate its dark, rich color. Even though the cocoa in dark chocolate contains heart-healthy phytonutrients, the added sugar and cocoa butter make it an energy-rich food. So if you're not engaging in physical activity to burn off those calories, the health benefits will disappear, along with your waistline. I think they should rename this one the Dietitian's Delight. It's made with dark chocolate, cocoa nibs, and cocoa. As well, it's in a perfect bite-sized serving. For Shaw TV, I'm Lori, and this has been Good for You and Good for Our Earth.
FarmFolkCityFolk.ca, good for you, good for our earth, has been brought to you by Farm Folk City Folk.
Chocolate Arts has moved to a new location, and soon they'll have a retail area with an open plan kitchen so you can watch the chocolatiers creating. In the meantime, have a watch for these events that we're highlighting on today's Express Spotlight. Fort Langley's past is depicted at night by their expert storytellers. This chilling night will leave you spellbound as you weave through the village from the misty cemetery to the deserted Hudson's Bay Company Fort. This Halloween, the garden will transform into a theatrical haunted setting for a traditional Chinese detective story. Brave the garden's haunted pathways, uncover important clues, then warm yourself up at the old tea house. Raise funds for underprivileged kids across Greater Vancouver to access arts, culture, sports, and recreation. There'll be 14 golf and spa packages, silent and live auctions, a full-course dinner, and more. And that's it for today's Express in Vancouver, featuring creative careers, everything from chocolatiers to creative writers, yogi musicians, and jewelry designers. We're going to leave you with a look at something that's about as creative as it gets. Ballet BC featuring the Elton John Ballet. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.